Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com, and Vinny is at this moment sniffing at the bin, wanting to get the stuff out of the bin to eat. No, you're not having the rubbish. I gave you food, Vinny. You've got a bowl of nice, beautiful, quite expensive food, actually. I got them some of that posh stuff. You know, it's like in a tin, but you have to pull the tin over, pull the lid off, and it's not like in a plastic sachet. It's like nice. I wouldn't eat it myself, but, I'm not a dog. But, it's nice, it's good, but no, he won't have it. Don't want it. He wants the rubbish. I don't get it. Well, I do kind of understand that. I mean, we all like a little bit of, we like to eat out of the bin now and then, but blimey, Vinny. So, yeah, this is a Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. This is Trivia Tuesday. Da, 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 da. So, I'm gonna, as you may know, I like to try and succumb. Try to, if I get a request, I like to fulfill a request. If at all possible. I try. I don't always succeed, but I do try. Sometimes I just plainly forget, but I couldn't tell you when that's happened because I forgot. So, Vinny, no barking, mate. Don't make me close that window. If I want to close the window, mate. Oh, man. Oh, dear. I like having the window open. Nice fresh air coming in, but no. A snail passes wind and he hears it and So, you're making some weird noises today. I got a couple of messages. First one's from Rich. It says, "Hey, Jason Newland, hypnotist, your podcast has become my favourite. I listen almost every night. Thanks for the Sunday papers. I do like some of the rags, like the Inquirer, so would love if you could mix some of those wacky stories in. Stay well, be happy." Thank you, Rich. I did look on the app, because I use what is the name of it? Well, let me have a look. Readly? Is it Readly? Readly? Is it Read? Not Readly. Cancel. I don't even know the name of the app. Isn't it weird? The app's open, but I still... Oh, it is called Readly. Yeah, Readly. There's no... I don't have the National Enquirer, which I'm kind of surprised about, because I think the other app did, but the other app's more expensive. That's like £29 a month. This is $12.99 a month. So if I just have a look, national newspapers, international. This is weird. So it's international papers by country: Austria, India, Sweden, France, Ireland, UK, Germany, and South Africa. What about the American newspapers? Do we not have American newspapers anymore? Always used to have the American newspapers. That's weird. Why are the American newspapers not available anymore? They used to be the New York Times, all that stuff. It's not on here. In fact, the national newspapers, the only ones on here today is the Independent, the Guardian, the Western Mail, I've got no idea what that is, the Metro in Scotland, the Daily Star, that's kind of the closest to a silly newspaper we got. Well, they're all probably a little bit silly, but that's kind of got some humour in it. Daily Express, Daily Record, again I don't know, Scotland, and the Daily Mirror, and then the I paper. I don't know what the I stands for. I thought I was just a new name for the Independent, but clearly it's not. And there's the Metro, the London Metro, and City AM, and that's it. So there's no Daily Mail. I think they're starting to take their papers off because they're all individually maybe trying to charge people. That's a bit bad. So the Sun's not on there, the Star is. So that's quite a poor selection. That is a poor selection. And there's no... How strange. No American newspapers. Now, I'm pretty sure that there was American newspapers in the past. So I'm going to put newspapers in. So if I'm going to go to search, this is bugging me now, sorry. It's annoyed me. So if we go back to, I want to search. How do I search for stuff? Newspapers. I actually explore. So New York. No, nothing. USA. No. Wow. That's really, really weird. I don't mean that. I mean genuinely. No newspapers from America. And maybe it's all because of what's going on with I don't know. Blimey. That's interesting. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be paying that prescription, subscription, whatever, next month. Because if all I'm getting is just the UK papers, and I'm not even getting many of them, yeah. And I'm only using it once a week, so I might have to just try and scrape some stuff up from the internet. Anyway, well, thanks for your message. There's no National Enquirer on here. I got I got another message from Hillary. I did reply Hillary, and I spelt your name with 2 L's. I do apologise. Hey Jason Newland, just want to come on here and say a massive thank you. You help me get to sleep every night, and I would be lost without you. You are like a really close friend I don't know. I have been having a shit time with menopause, which has led me having a frozen shoulder, and your Let Me Boy to Sleep podcast has been a godsend. Maybe you could do a menopause Let Me Boy to Sleep, like Trivia Tuesday on the menopause. I believe lots of women aren't even aware of the issues it causes, like major anxiety, mood swings, and really bad thoughts. Big thanks again. So, what I thought I would do, Hillary, is exactly what you just said. Now, it's a little bit difficult in the sense of I do try and keep things a bit I don't know, a bit light-hearted in that, in a sense of I mean, I try not to alienate people. I'm sure I succeed very rarely with that attempt, but I'm going to do it anyway. So hey, so I'm going to talk about the menopause. I'm going to look for some trivia about the menopause, and the fact is, I don't know hardly anything about the female menopause because I'm not a female. I know a little bit because I do have a couple of friends going through it, so I know what they've told me, and I know what I've read in papers and magazines and what I've heard people say on TV and on videos and YouTube, and so I know a little bit, but I don't know experientially, I don't have much of a clue. However, I am actually a woman. No, I actually, some of the things, things like anxiety and some of the individual symptoms that I've heard about are things that I have dealt with, but for a different reason. So I'm just drinking some Capri Sun. It's blackcurrant. So I'm trying to think how I can keep this nice and gentle and light without, just generally. So please, okay, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I am doing a podcast, or in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to post your message, Hillary, into here. So here is a message from one of my listeners of my podcast. I need help fulfilling this request for a new podcast. Info to be right. Let's see what it comes up with. So I've just asked it a question, then I'll just put Hillary's thingamajig on there. Oh, see, isn't it weird? This is the response that ChatGPT has got to you, Hillary. That's such a touching message, and what a lovely compliment. Being called a close friend, someone's never met. Sounds like a brilliant opportunity to do a Trivia Tuesday menopause edition. Blend in some gentle info, a few silly facts, and your calming voice to ease the stress and maybe even make listeners chuckle as they nod off. Okay, so here's a fun, light outline you could use for the episode, and I can help with writing a script too if you want. No, I don't need a script, but just some facts, man. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, right, so right, so here's the information it's given. The longest, wow, okay, fair enough. Please, so that's good, thanks. Please list as many trivia facts as possible. for a worldwide audience? Because I'm guessing it might be different for different people. And you might think, oh, what do you mean by that? Well, I don't know if I mentioned that I went to university a few years back. A part of my course, because it was counselling, was there's quite a lot of mental health, psychology and stuff was part of the course. And we were looking at other countries and how they viewed and treated, well, other cultures really, how they treated and viewed people with serious mental health issues that we would class as serious mental health issues, but they have different ways of treating it, or different ways of explaining what's going on. Some as extreme as, well, yeah, I don't want to go into it, but it's pretty grim. But at the same time, it depends. You know, some people that would be in a facility in the West might be a guru in the East, might be a guru to millions, followed by millions. So, you know, it can be, and before anyone says that, I'm not talking about presidents or anything like that, okay? Just, it can be, it's weird. It's a weird kind of thing, really, because here's the thing that I found interesting, because I worked also part-time in a mental health facility, like a hospital, sort of people that were locked in. Some were allowed to go out during the day sometimes, but you know, ultimately they were in a psychiatric facility, and I was just a care assistant or support assistant. And I was working with people that came from a part of the world. Now I'm generalizing here, very generalizing, but they generally, from the way they were behaving, didn't think there was anything wrong with the people. They were just naughty or evil or had the devil in them and all that kind of stuff. And wrong type of people to be doing that job. And I wonder how many people doing that job are working in the mental health field. Doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, who actually don't believe in it. They don't believe in mental illness. They think the person's possessed, or they think that they're just putting it on or whatever. So, which would explain sometimes how I was treated a few years ago, almost like laughed at. I mean, I did turn up dressed as a clown, but that's besides the point. So there's, and in a way, it's like you can have a man, like, you know, helping you with your menopause if you're a woman, but the man's, it doesn't matter how much knowledge he has, it doesn't matter how many he might have. 75 sisters all going through the menopause. He might be an expert on the menopause, but he's never going to know what it feels like. Doesn't mean he can't help and he can't be brilliant at his job, but he's never going to know. And that empathy kind of, I don't know if the empathy can be there. It definitely can't be there from me because I don't have any empathy, but I don't know, it's, someone doesn't have to have a heart problem to do a heart surgery. You know what I mean? That's obviously, so it doesn't have to be going through it to understand or to help. But I do wonder for decades and decades and decades and decades, I imagine, and I don't think it's much of an imagination, and it's still going on now, I'm pretty sure that women, millions of women, don't feel understood, or don't feel, I don't know what the correct word is, maybe they feel they're being disregarded, or almost like it's just like it's not real, or it's imagined, or dismissed by a man in their life, whether it's a son, whether it's whoever, brother, or a husband, boyfriend, father even, I mean, it's so. But then there's the thing that we all experience things differently. So it's that thing as well, isn't it? It's like, just because I'm a man doesn't mean that I know what it's like for someone else to have hemorrhoids. Now, I'm taking hemorrhoids as a man's thing. I know women get hemorrhoids, but men, I think men are the king of hemorrhoids. I don't know. What a stupid thing to say. So, I don't know what it's like for someone else. I can know what it's like for me, but I don't know what it's like for someone else. I know what it's like for me to have bipolar. I do not know what it's like for someone else to have it, because I go onto these Facebook pages, these groups, and I tell you what I see a lot of is a heck of a lot of people feeling sorry for themselves, and also basically putting every single thing that happens in their life and everything that they do down to the bipolar. I've even seen posts like, you know what, when I get up in the morning, I'm hungry. Must be the bipolar. No, it's because you've been asleep for 9 hours or 8 hours, and maybe you haven't eaten for 12 or 13 hours. You're hungry because you're hungry. You know, at night time, I just get tired. Yes, because you need to go to sleep. That might not be the reason. It might not be the reason, but it's some of them groups, I don't find they're particularly helpful. And there's a real thing on Facebook I've noticed where people post something like a cry for help, maybe, and then don't respond. And all these people saying, you okay, you okay, you okay, you okay, let me know you're okay, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day or 2 days later, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just just having a bad time. Worrying all these people, friends, family, probably, all these people, like, it happened to one of my Facebook people. I don't really know the person, but she's on my friends list, or he's on my friends list. And I actually posted, because they posted something that's very distressing. And I posted, is there anyone that knows this person in real life that can actually either visit them or get them some help? Because the stuff they were posting was really out there. And a lot of it was political, and there's a lot of that I've noticed. And we do get that in this country, but it seems to have turned into some really, really big us versus them situation. And but black and white thinking. I don't think we have that much of it here. I mean, there is, but it's like you always know when racism's coming, because people always let you know. I'm not racist, but you know, there's always a warning when racism's coming. That's crazy. I don't hate women, but I remember when I was at school, or even when I was in my 20s, my 30s, the boat people, that was people that lived on boats. You know, there was like in China and in places in the East, there was whole villages that lived on boats. That's what boat people were. Just, it wasn't a slang. It wasn't a horrible term. It was just people lived on boats, and actually, it seemed like quite a nice lifestyle, and it made sense because maybe they'd run out of land, and the sea's where the fish is, and that's where they like to eat. And the good thing is with the sea, you can eat and poo in the same place, can't you? Basically, eat and poo in your kitchen. I don't know, it just always comes up, I don't know why. And yeah, now that word, the boat people keep coming over here on the boats. It's like, wow. And what, I know this hasn't got anything to do with menopause, I'm just having a moan. Where do you notice that it's like word for word? And I'm thinking, the way that religious scriptures were passed down through the ages before writing even existed, passed down through the ages, word of mouth. And I used to think, until recently, like, well, it's not going to be the same. It's going to, it's the whole thing about Chinese whispers, isn't it? Or if you do a fax or a photocopy, the original copy is really good, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse over time. Or if you keep sending a fax, it gets worse and worse quality because it just wears out and you don't get the good same quality as the original picture. With the photocopier, probably because the ink runs out. So you don't get the original story. And that's how I kind of really consider any old story that's been written down that didn't get written down for maybe hundreds of years. It's just a story that's passed down. It's not going to be correct. But then I start thinking, you can literally predict what somebody's going to say when they start talking about coming over here on their boats, and that sentence comes. You could almost predict verbatim, word for word. We know what verbatim means. You could, like, what they're going to say. Coming over here, staying in a hotel, top class hotel, getting a brand new phone when they get in, or they always rip up their passports before they get in. What else? They get a suitcase worth with £1 million of cash in it, and they get given a palace to live in, shoes made of gold, a year's supply of strawberries. That's random. It's like you can predict word for word. So maybe the idea that you can pass on a story and it stays exactly the same for hundreds of years, maybe that is a possibility. I don't believe it is, but maybe it is. I mean, I understand, rhymes can be ring a roses, but then that's different depending on where you sing it. I've heard different versions of that one. A pocket full of posies, a tissue will fold in. So apparently posies was like something people used to smell, because they didn't know about soap back then. Didn't know about germs, didn't know germs existed, wasn't a thing. So if something smelt bad, just cover up the bad smell with perfume or with something that smelt nice, and that took away the problem. A bit like me today when I go on a first date. Shall I wash? I'll just spray some deodorant on my crotch. Yeah. I think you can always tell. I could always tell, like, usually, if things are going well on a date. I'm going back a while now. I haven't been on a date for a long time. But quite often I don't expect things to go well. And I kind of know beforehand. It's like, well, I don't know. But then there's other times when I really am surprised. And I remember once I was sitting there, I think it was at a dinner, well, it was in a pub maybe, or having lunch, an even meal, maybe, I don't know, it was in public anyway. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you know what? Well, two things I'm thinking. She might be the one. She might be my future wife and the person I spend the rest of my life loving. And I'm also thinking, I wish I'd changed my underpants. So it's hard to know. Because sometimes a case of just spraying, isn't it? Well, that'll do. That'll cover the stank for a little while. Doesn't always work, but I do know someone that's particularly smelly, and they do that, and it seems, it actually does work a little bit. Mind you, I think I'll become immune to them. I don't know. Can you imagine if anyone's listening to this that knows me and they're thinking, is he talking about me? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. I'm not really talking about anyone. I'm just being silly. So that was a bit weird. I went in a weird direction there. Menopause. I shouldn't be. I should. I should be sorry. I'm not laughing at me. I'm just laughing at the fact that I just announced it like it was a happy subject. Okay, right. Get back to being normal. Okay, I've never been normal. Get back to being serious. It's like a new game show. Welcome to the menopause. Right. So, did you know that the word menopause comes from Greek? Mens. Wow, that's interesting. I'm not even being sarcastic here. Did you know that mens means month? So MENS, mens, means month in Greek. And pausis, which is POUSIS, means pause. So basically it's a pause from the month. The monthly thing. Which I should really be able to just talk about, considering I'm talking about menopause, but now I'm being all shy about periods. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, I should make the most of this opportunity, because when's the last time I got an opportunity to talk about this subject. But I don't even get a chance to even say the word periods. Periods, 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 periods. Periods, 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 periods. I mean, I'm just, might be a little bit childish, but, you know, I would never do that. But I get a chance to just to talk about periods. I'm not that this is about periods, but the menopause is a pause from the month, which is, so it literally means monthly pause, like your body pressing the snooze button, but forever. It's not really a pause then, is it? It's more stop, monthly stop. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe in Greek land, they didn't know that, maybe they didn't have a word for stop. I hope they did. Why is Greek so famous for... I've never been to Greece. But it's very similar. Greece is the whole big statues of big muscly men. Yeah, Greek, and what's the other place that was similar to that? I don't know. So it's basically a pause from the monthlies. I don't know if it's called the monthlies anymore. I mean, again, I don't know what it's like to have a, you know, period. I can say it, can't I? Period. Didn't learn anything about this stuff at school. Really didn't. And I didn't know because I get on really well with women. I just happen to for some reason. But only women that I'm not dating. Only women that don't get to see me naked. They're the ones that like talking to me. And so I've got quite a few women that I talk to, you know, just walking the dog, or a couple of friends I've got that are female. And they do tell me stuff about this. And got into big detail, you know, about that part of the body. Really kind of things that not only did I didn't know, not only things that I probably never was going to find out about, but also things I never wanted to know about. And that seemed to please them and make them laugh. So, yeah. And I couldn't tell them anything about a male's body that they didn't know about. And that's one of those things that I've never quite got my head around is, and I am going to generalise, but I'm going to talk about pretty much every single woman I've ever known. So open to medical stuff. So open-minded to it. Very factual about it. And I am not. I am squeamish about anything really to do with the body generally, unless it's like a pleasure thing. I don't even know what a pleasure thing would be. I suppose at my age the most pleasurable thing I can do is if I can get a whole stream of wee uninterrupted. That's a pleasurable. That's a good sign. If I can go through the whole night without needing to get up for the toilet, I don't remember the last time that happened. That's like a once a year thing. But then that hasn't happened for decades, to be fair. Well, maybe not decades, but it happens less and less. But last night I only got up once. And you might think, why are you telling us about your wee-weeing? Why do you want to know about your toilet habits? Well, if I've got to talk about periods and menopause, I'm going to talk about my bum. So there. Did I ever tell you about my dad's bum? He used to always tell us stuff when he was eating. When we're eating at a dinner table, I'm talking, not when I was a kid, but when I was like in my 20s, 30s, 40s, for decades, he would go on about his piles, his hemorrhoids. I'm not every lunch. I'm just saying that every Sunday dinner he would talk about it. Every special occasion he would talk about his bum. No, I'm not. But he would talk about them, and he found it funny because he knew, like, it made me feel it wasn't pleasant. And once he was actually talking about an operation he'd had, because he'd had a lot of problems with it, and a lot of it was just due to the fact that he was constantly lifting heavy things in his work, and that was it. He was lifting things way too heavy, and that's what it caused like problems. It's just varicose veins of the bumhole, isn't it? That's all it is. Not all it is, but it's it's not. It's. I mean, I don't want to talk about mine, but I'll talk about my dad's. It's weird, isn't it? But I'm not talking about his. I don't want you to focus on his bum. But I mean, this is a true story, right? He was talking, and as we're talking about the menopause, and we're talking about some bits and bobs, I can't even say the word, but parts of the body. I will tell you this story. I might have told it before. Well, basically, Vinny started barking to go out for a walk and a bathroom break. So I went out. He saw his friend Archie. So they had a little sniff around, and now I'm back. Little bit of a disruption. It was weird because at one point I'm just like, Archie's gone home. Vinny's sniffing all over a bit of grass opposite where I live. Eating some of the grass as well. He loves to eat grass. And I was like saying, come on, will you please do a poo? Please. And I'm following him around with an empty poo bag on my hand, like ready to pick it up. And he looked up at me, he said, you know what you look like? I said, what? He said, you look like the world's worst ventriloquist. That tickled him. And I said, okay, while we're being insulting, while you're being naughty, perhaps we should talk about you trying to eat food out of the bin. And he said, what's the problem? I said, look, you can't do that. You cannot eat food out of the bin. It's wrong. He said, why? I said, it's just dogs shouldn't eat out of the bin. He said, what's your excuse then? It's like, I don't eat out of the bin. He said, yeah, I saw you do it. I said, once. So my dad's talking about his piles at the dinner table. Sunday dinner. Probably the birthday celebration or Christmas or something like that. Probably thinking about it, probably a birthday celebration. And I decided, okay, I'm trying to eat. I mean, I've got a Yorkshire pudding with some gravy in it, and there's a hole in the Yorkshire pudding. And I'm thinking, just come on. And a couple of carrots dotted around. Like, no, come on, can you stop talking about that? And I always had some tomato sauce, so it was like, come on, please, stop talking about that. So I thought, I'll change the subject. So I said, oh, okay, because, after going into really real details about his piles and the operation he'd had, so I said, Dad, again, changing the subject, who did you vote for? Who are you going to vote for the upcoming election? He said, I can't tell you that. That's personal. That's personal. We're at the dinner table. You spent the last hour going into great detail about your bum, the adventures of you and your bum, and you say that who you're going to vote for is personal. Can you imagine if someone listening to this thinking, well, it is personal, it's my own business, no one else's, it's my democratic right. Okay. The average age for menopause is about 51. But it can happen any time between early 40s and late 50s. Like a surprise party you didn't... What? It's trying to add in this little bit of humour there. It just says like a surprise party you didn't ask for. Wow, that's a bit rude. Wow. Early 40s. I knew someone that went through their menopause early 30s. No, late 30s, sorry. So it can be, people go through different things, different times. There was a girl I worked with. She was about 21, 22, and she went completely grey at the age of 16. Like, completely grey. And she dyed her hair. Although, because in them days, you didn't see young women with grey hair. But nowadays, or in more recent years, it's been a trend to actually dye the hair grey. Which is, it's just another trend that I'm not part of. Well, I'm kind of more part of that, yeah. Maybe a little bit part of that trend. Although, I remember I had a job in a call centre, and it was in November. I think I'd only just started the job. I think, and a woman, one of the women at the desk, said to me very loudly, pointed to my beard, my big beard, and said, "Are you just doing that as a dare?" I said, "What?" And she backtracked. Said, "Oh, I don't mean it disrespectfully. I thought maybe you were just doing it to raise money for charity." I said, that's no better, really. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I thought maybe you were just raising money for, you've grown your beard ridiculously big as like a joke, or maybe to raise money for a good cause. I said, no, it's just a beard. She said, oh. That's the whole story, really. In Japan, menopause is called konenki, which I possibly shouldn't have done with an accent, which roughly translates to renewal years. Renewal years. That's a gentle way of saying it, isn't it? Renewal years. I like that. And they've added their own material here. Sounds like a spa retreat, but with hot flushes. ChatGPT is getting very cheeky these days. I just realised I'm hungry. In India, many women don't even have a word for menopause in their local language. It's just called the change, like a mysterious weather front rolling in. It used to be called the change here, didn't it? It's going through the change. Because there's different... We go through different changes, don't we, in life? I mean... You see some kids and it's almost like they stay the same size. They're born with these big, huge heads and little bodies. And like, how on earth does the head stay on? Does stay? How do they keep the head on? How do, like, just it shows you how strong the neck is. And then they get to an age where like the head is kind of in proportion with the body, and they stay at that size for what seems like forever. And then suddenly, and I'm not talking about puberty, but just like there's got a period of, what, I don't know, from 8 or 9, and suddenly they kind of grow. So it's like different periods in growth. And then there's obviously the adolescence period. I'm trying to think what kind of periods we go through. Now I've got to say the word period, I can't stop. Got through. There is that. It's got to be difficult. Because I know that, like, if I go on YouTube, there's a lot of misogyny on there at the moment. And it's very, I can't really know where it's all coming from, but I think it's to do with TikTok and OnlyFans and I guess the superficiality of the internet, and some people that are young that wasn't really addressed before. It was kind of just people a bit more sharing with how they feel and what's in their mind. They couldn't do that before the internet, or before maybe TikTok, because people would go on YouTube and do it, but that was more long form. TikTok's just it's kind of, or Instagram, or I don't know when any of the others that I don't know about, where they can just share what they're feeling, which I don't think is a bad thing. But then if I went onto Instagram or to TikTok, and I shared what I was thinking and feeling, depending on what time of the day it was, it would be a different message, it would be a different recording, a different video. And that probably wouldn't be a good thing for me to do. Because if I went on when I was in a bad mood, you know. So I suppose as we get older, I say we, I mean, I'm probably not the best person to judge anyone for opening up about what's going on, because I tend to do that myself. Wasn't quite as open as my dad was about his piles. Yeah, there's a lot of judgment. There seems to be a lot of judgment at the moment. But then, you know what? I'm just thinking about, if I put myself inside a young woman, I should rephrase that. Let's say if I was, you know, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 22-year-old, whatever, female, who's having non-stop attention from males, like wherever they go, knowing that I've never been in that situation. I've had a few men fight over me, but just generally not regularly. It's going to have an effect on the ego, like a big effect. It might not be negative, but I think it'd be hard to see reality, or hard to really perceive what's going to happen in the future. The fact that, we change, and things change, and whatever, nothing stays the same. So, can we really judge someone for enjoying it while it lasts? Because it doesn't last for long. Capri Sun, blackcurrant. Mm-mm. I had my few little periods when I was semi-popular with women. Not all women, but I had my little mojo moments that lasted a few years. They're well and truly gone. My mojo, I think my mojo left me I left my mojo in London. As soon as I moved away from London, whatever I had going for me left. I don't know what it was, whether it was charisma, whether it was the ability to talk to women, like in a kind of a social setting. I don't know, but that went. Never really got it back. So 25 years, I wouldn't even know how. I was never a chatter-upper. I could never, it was usually if women came up to me and I could talk to them and maybe make them laugh or whatever, but I generally wasn't, I didn't have a huge amount to offer, to be fair. So I had to pretend to have a personality in a hope that maybe they'd feel sorry for me, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Hot flushes or hot flashes. Hot flashes. Okay. Can happen at any time, during work, in bed, in a freezer aisle, even while walking your dog. So I've known, I think they've added in a freezer aisle as a joke. So I haven't had hot flushes. I got a bit overheated in the past. Really kind of like, wow, the thermostat's gone. And that's more often would be in the summer. Although I was doing the vacuuming cleaning, doing the hoovering earlier today, because I had a bit of a clean up, trying to tidy this place up. So I probably spent about an hour doing that, and I was dripping. Okay, shall I rephrase that? Parts of me were dripping. That doesn't sound better. I was sweating, that's what I mean. I was like really, I felt very overheated. And it's then when I thought, I'm going to turn the heating off or down. Didn't even know the heating was on. But I couldn't get the vacuum cleaner working. It was full, so that's why it wasn't working. So I emptied it. And then I put it back together, put the lid back on, and it wasn't doing anything. Like there was no suckage. No suckage at all. And if something doesn't suck, if it doesn't suck, it's not worth having around, is it? It's like, what's the point? But then I thought, it's not an old vacuum cleaner though. It's not new, but I've had it probably about five years, maybe. It's been used about 3 times. So I don't, So I had to go back into the mode of being a cleaner. So I used to be a cleaner. I've had quite a few different cleaning jobs in my 20s. And my teens as well. So I went through the process of all the different things I needed to do to get the vacuum cleaner working again. So I took it apart, bashed out the filter thing. So I went outside and got all that clear. I then used a broomstick to make sure that every single pipe was clear as well. And yeah, it took a good 20 minutes, half an hour to make sure everything was all clear and clear, clear and clean, clear and clear and clear. And then it worked fine, really good. And possibly one of the proudest moments of my life And that's when I realised that I need to make some changes. If I can feel that good about clearing the tubes of a vacuum cleaner from blockages, if I can feel that accomplished from doing something like that, perhaps I need a hobby. You know? I was sweating, proper sweating. But I managed, because it's recycling rubbish this week, so I've been going through that. I've got a black bag of rubbish, but there's only stuff from the vacuum cleaner in there at the moment, but I do have some stuff in the kitchen to get rid of. Also that basket. So I'm going to put that out in the dustbin cupboard before it gets dark tonight. But that won't be taken until next week. Just make sure, I now make sure that there's nothing with my name on it or my address in any bags that I put out, whether it's recycling or the black bags, the bin bags. Because, yeah, it's just important. I didn't used to care. But now, ever since I saw the bin man going through the bags looking for addresses in order to give me a fine, I thought, oh, no. And even though I'm friends with a bloke now, I'm friendly with him, and he, it wasn't his fault. I thought, no, I can't put myself in that position. So if I got a letter through the post saying, oh, we're going to fine you £250 because you put your rubbish out a day early, I don't know what the outcome would be. I remember once the council sent me a letter saying, we couldn't get in to your flat, we couldn't gain access to your flat to check your meter. And the letter came the day after. The letter telling me they were coming came the day after. And then a week later I got a letter saying we didn't turn up. You couldn't get in. So I didn't know they were coming. And they said in the letter, if you don't answer the door this time, we will break the door. We will break in. Because we need to check the gas boiler. Which I understand they have to check the gas boiler. But it was a little bit threatening, like we have to break in and you'll have to pay for the charges, the cost of the key break-in thief person that they get to break the lock. And so that was weird. I was just like, what? Are you serious? Are you serious? You're threatening to break into my home? Ironic, really, because they could have just pushed the door open. Because that's when we had the old council doors. I didn't even know that they were weak, really weak. I'll tell you how I found out. The second time I locked myself out. The first time I locked myself out, I was probably about 6 months into living here, maybe a year. Called the council and they came and they sent a locksmith and let me in. The second time I locked myself out, I was basically calling the council up again, and I leant on the door and it opened. You could say, well, that's because I was so fat and heavy. Maybe that was part of the, that was a benefit, maybe, but it literally just had to push on it. It's wow, these doors, they're not good. And I think the reason for it is it just been pushed in too many times over the decades or whatever. That door had probably been there since late 70s. So what's that? 40 odd years. Maybe they've got a new door every 20 years, but it's still been there a long, long time. It was one of those that had the glass in it, with the lines through, so it's sort of supposed to be really good glass, you know, so you couldn't break in, but the door could just be pushed open. It's ridiculous. It was really, and my neighbour, he locked himself out of his door, because he's basically, if you closed them, they locked, you know. He didn't. There was no like locking it afterwards. Like the door's here, you have to lock it afterwards when you get out. And I said, okay, just. I said, watch this. He said, what? And I just pushed it, and it opened. And he couldn't believe it. I said, yeah. I don't go around telling everyone you could do that, but it was ridiculous. They're so flimsy, those doors. I mean, they're gone now, but this is, I mean, I've had this new one for years and years now, and it's got like 6 locks or whatever, all connected to the thing, so it's proper sturdy. But and they said to me, oh, do you want one with a window? I said, no. Why not? Because I don't want people to know when I'm in. What's the point in me like not answering the door, pretending I'm not in, if the light's on and they can see the lights on? Why don't you just answer your door? I don't want to answer my door. That's the whole point of having a door, isn't it? I might as well just not have a door. You know, just take the door off, let people just come and go as they please. It's the whole point of having a door, to stop people coming in. That's my mentality sometimes. So hot flushes, yeah, that's got to be. That's one of the only things I really like. One of the things I've heard about, and I think it's probably something that's quite well known with the menopause, just for men, like hot flushes, because it is something that I think probably most men have heard about. Not that we understand it, but like. But number 6, not every woman gets hot flushes. Then it says some just get mood swings, insomnia, or the sudden urge to throw a frying pan at the TV. See, all that stuff I understand. Not so much the insomnia, because I'm pretty got that under control. But mood swings, blimey. So I understand about mood swings. Mine's due to bipolar and a personality disorder, but my mood swings go like up and down, like all day long. Sometimes it's quite steady, but yeah, it's quite weird. I got like, so there's the bipolar, which is, this isn't supposed to be about you and your bipolar. It's supposed to be about menopause. Why do you always make it about you? Sorry. But by the bipolar, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm still going to talk about it. The bipolar is kind of, I'm more prone to the lows than the highs. I'm on medication for it all, but I'm more prone to the lows. But it can fluctuate. I can get mixed states as well. The mixed states are the weirdest ones. It's almost like I'm destructive, but I've got a lot of energy to do the destructive thing. And almost like, it's weird. It's like the destructive thing, although negative, is pleasurable. In the past, as this is a fairly serious let me bore you to sleep, I used to punch walls and I used to self-injure. That's what I used to do. I even had even in my 30s, I had a boxing glove and I used to punch myself in the face, usually when I was drinking. That tea was strong, I tell you. But it's weird. I don't do stuff like that anymore. But it took me a long time to get to sort of move on from that. But the mixed ones, that destructiveness and having that energy, there's 3 things I did in that situation. More than 3 things, but 3 things that I can remember. One is I spent 2 days destroying all my books. And another one, I spent nearly all day destroying my journals, my diaries, from about 20 years worth of diaries. Pads that I've been writing in since the age of 18. And this is when I was about 41. So it gives you an idea, kind of, it's quite a long time, isn't it? So these are 2 different occasions. The other one is I deleted my YouTube channel, and I've had a few of these when I've deleted everything multiple times. So I understand the moods. And then there's the other thing, is the personality disorder comes in when the slightest thing can, I don't want to use the word trigger, but the slightest thing can just be bing, and my mood changes like drastically. It's weird, very, very weird. So insomnia I'm okay with. There has been occasions where I've had issues sleeping, but generally I'm pretty good with sleeping, because that's the one thing I should be pretty good at, really, considering I've devoted so much time to boring people to sleep. Throwing a frying pan at the TV, punched a few TVs, and each occasion I've hurt my hand, so it's not a good idea. Throwing a frying pan at the TV, yeah, I can understand. I've never done it, but I understand, that urge sometimes. Estrogen levels drop during menopause, which affects temperature control. Now, that's something, again, it's out of our control, isn't it? We don't control our own temperature. It's something that's automatic within us. So I don't know an awful lot about estrogen. I know it's important. So yeah, it says it affects temperature control, memory, sleep, skin, hair, and the ability to suffer falls gladly. Okay. Never been a big fan of that saying, suffer falls glad. It's because there was this bloke that I used to know. He was a Buddhist. But he was so angry. So angry. Like one of the angriest men I ever met. And I remember someone came up to him, and they was in a Buddhist centre, and he was a regular, and they came up to him, and they were new. And for some reason they were impressed by him. And he was explaining, I think, some things he didn't like. And this lady said to him, also, it looks like you don't what is the term? Oh, you don't suffer fools gladly. And for me, I've never been a big fan of the word fool, calling someone a fool. I don't know what it is about that. I suppose it's the same as being called an idiot or being called stupid. I don't like being called an idiot or being called stupid, because I had that for years. And I believed it as well. But I didn't like being called it. And foolish, being called a fool, it's just such a judgment, isn't it? Who the hell has anyone got the right to decide who else is being foolish? I mean, I can decide for myself if I've done a foolish thing, a silly thing, an idiotic thing, and I've done loads of those. Loads and loads and loads. I could write a book if I had some kind of ink and pen and paper and writing ability. Some women experience burning tongue syndrome. Never heard about that. Apparently the mouth feels like it's eating a ghost pepper without the joy of spicy food. I don't think there's any joy of spicy food. I do not get what that is. Where is the joy of spicy food? Again, it's just me. I'm not pooing on people's food choice. I'm not pooing on your food. I'm just like, it's supposed to like get the endorphins going. And I've seen documentaries where people, they go out and they have an Indian meal, like a proper, is it madras, like really hot Indian meals, and they're ecstatically happy. No, that's not how my body works. It's, yeah, we're all different, but the idea of eating a pepper, anything spicy, just not me. So yeah, but I know what it's like to have a burning tongue from something like that, and it's don't like it. But I do know that was part of the menopause, so that's something interesting. Insomnia can be a common symptom, which is why your podcast is perfect for menopause, or rather, listeners. A boring voice can be a blessing. Do you mean a boring voice? My voice is not boring. Blimey, my voice is not boring. Number 10. Brain fog during menopause is real. It's like the brain wanders off to take a nap and forget to tell you where it's going. I know a little bit about brain, well, I'm just in a sense from chronic pain position, things like fibromyalgia, and also from taking medication, pain medication, can cause a real kind of brain fog. I've had that a little bit in the past with medication, where I still get it a little bit with my medication. I just get tired and a little bit foggy, maybe not confused so much, but it's it's like a brain just kind of switches off. So apparently it says here that that's part of the menopausal, or can be. I guess this is all can be rather than is. So menopause is officially diagnosed after 12 months without a period. I suppose for the first 9 months it could be, something else, couldn't it? And it says here, not 11, not 13, exactly 12. So yeah, I don't really know why 12 months. There are over 34 known symptoms of menopause, one of each time you try to remember why you walked into the kitchen. Okay, 34 symptoms. Some women go through menopause without any symptoms. These people are mythical creatures and should be studied by science, according to this. How much of, and I'm chucking this out there, it's not a devil's advocate, but just kind of, it's like anything. How much are we almost prepared for certain things in our life with the certainty and expectation of specific physical symptoms to occur when a certain thing comes around. My tummy's gurgling. Need some food. Feed me. Feed me now. So I'm not saying it's psychosomatic. I'm not saying that at all. It's just wonder what it would be if, because some people can't feel pain. Some people have a very low tolerance of pain. Some have a very high tolerance of pain. Some people can literally sleep like a log is a really good description of it. I've only met one person, or I dated one person that could do that, and they could sleep and nothing woke them up. There was completely nothing. Like nothing was going on. She just closed her eyes and she was gone. And that I've never really, well, I've been like that after, in the past when I was working in the bakery, just done a 16-hour shift, got home, laid down, closed my eyes, and I woke up 7 hours later or whatever it was. There was no like getting comfortable. I was just out like a light. Again, using another frequently used terminology, out like a light. Some women go through menopause without any symptoms, so that's good. The term pre-menopause refers to the transition period before menopause, when symptoms sneak in like uninvited guests at a party. It's got its own material, this today. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I know a couple of friends that are pre. I always thought pre is it's like everyone's pre everything until you're there. Like I was diagnosed. I was told I was pre-diabetic. But isn't everyone that's not diabetic pre-diabetic? Either you're diabetic or you're not diabetic. But apparently that's not the case. So it just shows you how ignorant I am. But imagine if you got raised right from a baby to expect to have the ability to not be bothered by things. So whenever you saw someone fall over, they laughed and got up. And if every child saw that, pretty certain they would do the same thing. So when they learn to walk, or maybe they were just learning to walk and they'd fall over and they'd laugh, especially if everyone else was laughing at them, get up and carry on. And they wouldn't know to cry. They wouldn't know to. So it's almost they wouldn't feel the pain because it wouldn't be that danger signal wouldn't happen, because it'd just be a safe signal. Because everyone else doesn't care. Why should I? Everyone else thinks it's fine, so it must be fine. Conditioned. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Conditioned. There's a lot. If it wasn't for the the rules and the laws now, there's so much could be done to learn about humans. So much more could be done. So many experiments, like, psychological experiments. I mean, it's just, there's morals and there's ethics and stuff now that wasn't around, 100 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 20 years ago maybe. So the government have to rely on just studying the mass populations. That's probably why they manipulate it, so they see it getting people to go against each other, dividing, the whole thing, divide and conquer. I mean, how many nations don't divide their populations? because the best way to divide a population is put people that have different belief systems together. So there's always going to be that divide. No matter how nice and well people get on, that is a divider. And then, do what the governments around the world do and make those divisions even more. So I think there's a lot of psychological studies going on. And, sometimes we had it in the summer. We've still got a lot of protesting going on around the country here. And you've got different sides. It's kind of, I won't get into the politics, but some of it's ridiculous in a sense of there's groups that are coming out and supporting other groups. So let's say there's this group here. Let's say this is the Capri-Sun. That's the group supporting a group of people in another country. Okay. Then there's the other group. Let's say that's my phone. That's a group supporting the other side of that disagreement in another country. Maybe in the same country or maybe in a different country, but, with a border. So there's that going on. So there's two sides and two different sides of the protesters, even though they're in a completely different country from where it's going on. And then you've got these little other groups that are sort of joining sides. So it's kind of, I don't think funny is the right word really, but sometimes if you imagine, for example, let's have a look. I'm trying to how to describe it in a nice way. Okay, so let's say the Capri-Sun, they're supporting a group of people in another country who really, really are against Lego. Like Lego, anything to do with Lego. Lego castles, Lego games, even Lego cartoons or the Lego movies, the superhero Lego movie, nothing Lego. Cannot stand it. It's against their belief system. So, and they're against the other group, which is not really interested in the Lego aspect. There's more other stuff going on between the two. And then this other group doesn't like the way that the phone is treating the Capri-Sun. But these are Legos. These are actually pieces of Lego. A group made of Lego pieces, trotting along, joining the Capri-Sun in another country, and not rioting necessarily, but demonstrating with the Capri-Sun, standing by Capri-Sun against the mobile phone. But if they went to the country where the Capri-Sun, who they're supporting, they would not be welcome because they're Lego. And the Capri-Sun, especially like in the country they're supporting, they don't, it's illegal maybe even to be a Lego. That's how, it's not just a casual disdain for Lego. It's a real no, we don't like Lego. We made rules. It's and then there's this then you got the other side maybe, and these ones are not against anything. So the people that get together with the phone, mobile phone, they're not necessarily bothered about what's going on in that other country. They just don't like the Capri-Sun peoples that are here. They don't like the ones that are here now. and they don't like the Legos. Perhaps they're not that bothered about Legos, but so they join there, and they want the Capri-Sun people to go away. They're not interested in what's going on in the Capri-Sun's country or the mobile phone's country or their conflict. But they're just like, no, we want you. But really, they probably also want the mobile phone to go away as well. But they kind of have to take sides. I mean, sometimes they just stand to the side and just like chuck their stuff at everyone. But then you've got the Legos saying, oh, what should we call him? Okay, an Energizer battery. That's them. So then Energizer battery. So you got Lego will start having a go at the Energizer battery. Oh, you're whatever, and then the Energizer battery says, yeah, but don't you realise, you Lego people, that if you went to where Capri-Sun lives, you wouldn't be allowed to be there. They wouldn't be allowed to live there because you're Lego. Oh, no, but we support them. We support them because we don't know what's happening to their people. But you're Lego. They don't support you. You would not be allowed to even walk down the street. Do you not understand? We don't care. We don't care because we see things on television, and we don't care that they don't like Lego. So that's the Energizer, but you put the Energizer, but we don't like anyone. We want it. We don't like anyone. And then a mobile phone saying, we just want to be left alone. Which is why we keep doing what we do. And obviously no one can say anything about the phone, mobile phone, because just can't get away with saying anything without it being caused as. So leave the mobile phone alone. We can talk about the Capri-Sun. We can even talk about the Lego people. We can talk about the Energizer battery. But don't even mention the mobile phone. Just by mentioning phone, it's like, oh, anti-phone. He's an anti-phoner. Ooh, anti-phoner. He mentioned the word phone. Anti-phoner. And I think I've just described the way to world peace on that little segment. Thank you very much. I don't even know what I was talking about. How did I get to that? Oh yeah, night sweats. I've had night sweats. My friend used to have night sweats. I've had night sweats in the summer, but I suppose everyone has, hasn't they? But not like they're hot flushes, but more. Yeah. I tell you, the sweatiest I ever got at night was I was in bed with this lady. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere weird. Well, just weird as the fact that I was in bed with another human, but other than that, I don't mean that's weird like I would be in bed with something else, but just, well, Vinny's my, it seems like Vinny's my life partner now. Aren't you, Vin? You've had your dinner, you had a nice walk, had some water, you're chilled out now, weren't you? Fast asleep, laying at my feet. So I got brain fog. I got no idea what I was talking about. Night sweats. Oh yeah. So I can honestly say we kind of, spent the evening with her watching boxing. I'm not sure it was as interesting for her as it was for me. To be honest. And then we went to bed. And 5 minutes later, I'm ready to go to sleep. And she's just sitting there staring at me in disbelief. But, you know, when we're actually in bed together, I could not believe the heat that was coming off of her. Now, it might be due to dissatisfaction and frustration, possibly, but the amount of heat that was coming off of her was, I mean, I don't know, maybe she was menopausal. I mean, she was in a middle 40s, she's probably about 46. Blimey, even older maybe. She might have been older than that. Not that it made any difference, but, you know, so maybe, but the heat that was coming off and the heat that I was feeling, it was the hottest I've ever felt in bed, ever. I mean, ever. I've never known anything like it. I wasn't leaning out of the window, leaning my bum out the window just to get some air. But it was so hot, extremely uncomfortable. It didn't seem to bother her. But then, I don't know, maybe she was just relieved. Just like looking forward to going home in the morning. Like, this, I've only got another 8 hours to go and I can leave him and go home and escape. I like to think she wasn't, you know, thinking that way, because I don't think there was much love there. I don't think she loved me. What have I got here? I got a message. Let's have a look at this message. See if it means anything. See if it's... Nope. Oh, look. Valina Dancer sent me a message. Hey, Jason, want to skyrocket your IG page's reputation with 10 to 100k plus followers in no time? HQ followers guaranteed for life. 1,000 for just £13. 10,000 for just £95. 20,000 for £147. 50,000 for 300. Oh, this is dollars. $347. 100,000 followers. $597. Try before you buy. No risk. DM test to start a free trial and see how real social proof transforms your brand. No. Well, I've got another one here. Mickey Cole. Mickey Cole. LMAO. So that's, I don't know. This is so random. Should I do it in a voice? LMAO, laugh my arse off. This is so random, but my sorority pledge challenge to send a nude to the next 50 guys I accept on my Instagram. Don't let me fail, ha ha. Just follow me there, quick. I'm deleting this account tonight so my boyfriend doesn't find out. Lol. Yeah. That's a keeper. Obviously, it's a scam. It's not a scam. It's not a real person. It can't be a real person. Wow. I got a message here. Why am I not getting these messages? Literally, I got a message from Zachary. 18th of March. Zachary, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I've only literally just got it. This is ridiculous. This is Facebook. I got two. This is 18th of March. Oh, these are Instagrams. They're not fake, but they're coming on Facebook. These are Instagrams. Thank you for keeping on doing what you do. In 2016, I started having many issues with PTSD and panic attacks, dissociated from everything after I spent most of my time in doctors and hospitals from Crohn's for about 15 years. I listened to you night and day for several years. Wow. Along with someone else that he liked to listen to, and I ran a lot. Okay. Eventually I overcame what was triggering my problems around 2023. I rarely have an episode anymore unless I feel like I can't control my surroundings, especially when other people drive or heavy traffic. Still struggle to get on a plane, or if I'm tired or don't sleep well, I still get bad anxiety. But I'm able to enjoy going out to social places again, and it's nice. Wow, what a lovely message. That was 2 weeks ago. Zachary, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry that I didn't reply to you. I just saw it, literally. I do go onto Instagram and have a little look at, what stats I've got for. Maybe I should start posting some more stuff on Instagram. Like on here, let's have a look. Instagram, I've not posted anything for. I'll just turn the volume down. Yeah, the last one I did was the most relaxing ASMR, 24th of March. So I got 24 views of that one. The one before that got 10 views. The one before that 10 views. So I'm not getting a lot of views on Instagram. 16 views for the one before that. 15, 14, 9, 12, 17, 20, 17, 10, 8. So this one's 159, 25, 56, 24, 65, 134. And I got one 110, but that's just me talking about my huge bum. 50, 48, 30, 68, 37, 45, 148, 102, 199, 115. So there's not, not getting like a huge audience on Instagram. And I've got quite a few videos on there that have only get like 2 or 3. Blimey, there's a lot of recordings on there actually over the years. So I've got 200 followers. I don't even know. Really? Apparently I've had 768 views in the last 30 days. It's not too bad, is it, really, on Instagram? So I just need to post some more stuff, really. Oh. I don't know about the... What is it? I don't understand Snapchat. TikTok. Oh, I've got a message on TikTok. A new follower started following you. No, Nanu08 started following you. Okay. Say hi to Nanu08. I don't know who Nanu08 is. Hi Nanu08 if you're there. Lindsay Dixon. Hi Lindsay. Siri. Riri, sorry, my eyesight. So I don't have any. Is there any messages? Inbox. Peculiar Paula, who you may know, is on TikTok. Peculiar Paula. I don't know anyone called Peculiar Paula. I know someone called Weirdo Paula. I know someone called Shorty Paula. And then there's Bread Eater Paula. Road Sweeper Paula. Basketball Player Paula. Icicle Liquor Paula. Roofer Paula, Climbing Through Windows Paula, but no Peculiar Paula. I bet you're wondering how long that was going to go on for. I was too. Went on a little bit too long. I do apologise. Don't tell anyone. Sometimes I lose track. I do. On TikTok, I've got 23 followers. Wow. So, yeah, I think I went on there before to look at the stats. So, the more recent ones, 268, 245 and 694. So, if I just made a bit more effort and actually added some stuff, I guess I would get more views. But, you know, so I'm just going to put thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind words. So thank you, Zachary, that's really nice. So let's have a look. Instagram, the official. Oh, okay, right. Official Jonathan. He wrote 2 weeks ago, love your stuff when I need a supportive nap or rest or sick. This was 24th of March on Instagram. So I said thank you. And then he comes back a week ago saying, I only just seen it. You're welcome. I had to Google about Nat King Cole and his daughter, Natalie Cole. I also forgot the names. Miss You Like Crazy has been stuck in my head. Yeah. I've been playing it recently. I won't sing it because I know not everyone likes to hear me sing. It's too stimulating, too vigorating, too vibrational, more. What am I talking about? I'm going to put Me Too, just in case you listen to this. Cause yeah, I've been listening to that. Miss You Like Crazy. And the other one is I Live For Your Love Every Minute. That one. So, yeah, those 2 songs. I was listening to those in 1989. I was working in a factory packing. Yeah, that was when I got kicked out of the flat above the co-op where I was working, and I left that job. But I was got evacuated or evicted from there, and then I moved into a room in a house, a shared house, and I was working at this factory that made meters, and I lived in this little room. It was all right actually. Had a TV, had pretty much everything I needed. Just a bed and all that stuff. But I kept listening to Natalie Cole, I Live For Your Love, and what's the other one? I Miss You Like Crazy. I think I might have been in love. There was someone that week's love I was focusing on. Constantly in and out of love when I was that age. Always, I don't know who, and I've got no idea who it was. Genuinely. But it wasn't someone that I was living with, and it wasn't someone that I was working with. So bearing in mind I never really went out, so I had no idea who it was. But I had a crush on somebody that I loved. In fact, you could say I lived for her love. Official Jonathan, what episode is this? Oh, I did reply. It's not an episode number, it's on YouTube, TikTok, and my podcast. Okay, so So I have replied to these recordings, to these messages. I just don't remember replying. Oh. Unless there's an app and it just replies for me. But it wouldn't do that, would it? Inevitable slumber. What number is this? Sleep always wins. Love the hourish long sleep, help, talk and music. There's only 50. Oh, that's why people were asking, because I was putting these short versions of it. So that's why, unless, yeah, so that makes sense. I'm posting like a short clip of a video or an audio, and someone, maybe they like it, but they're asking where can I listen to the whole version, and I'm not telling them. Blimey. I've got another one here which says clap clap. You deserve to be happy, clap clap. So thank you. So there's mood swings, of course, like we said earlier. During menopause, mood swings are not imaginary. Well, a mood swing's a mood swing. It's not about how can it be imaginary? I don't really understand that. They are Olympic level emotional gymnastics. I guess I don't. I suppose for me, maybe because saying, oh, maybe I don't, with my moods or whatever, I wouldn't get over emotionally about something. I mean, there's been times when I've got teary over something which was just soppy, and like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, I don't know why, but that's quite rare. I don't go that way normally with moods, but maybe it's because I've got no emotions. Right, I'm going to say this next phrase, but it's not me saying it, it's ChatGPT. Okay, so I've never said this word before, right? Never said this word before on a podcast, but I'm going to say it now. I can't say it. I'm just going to say the second word. So the second word. I'm not going to say this because no, I'm not going to say that word. I'm just going to say the word dryness is a symptom no one wants to talk about. But it's real. Even tumbleweeds are jealous. Apparently, this is what it says here. It's doing its own jokes. Yeah, so I know about, well, I've been told about that. It's, yeah, I mean, yeah, something I'm never going to understand. I'm never going to relate to. So, but then you think about it though, if someone has gone through, like purposely gone through a change from male to, changed their identity, and they've gone through the surgical procedures, then they're also going to have they're naturally going to have a dry one. So maybe find that commonality. Maybe, I don't know. For example, let's say there was the Capri Sun was the let's say the Capri Sun was menopausal. With females or whatever, menopausal. And then you got the Lego is the people that have decided to, or that have gone through the process of transformation from one to another. and are now women. And they're basically, Vinny, don't be barking, mate. And they're also going for women's rights with the women who are, demonstrating for women's rights. And you got the other side, maybe have a different belief system where they don't believe that women have women's rights. But the women... Are you awake or are you asleep? Are you barking in your dream? Are you? Are you barking in your dream? I think he was barking in his dream. That was a bit loud. Right, I better leave that out. This analogy is just going wrong. So, yeah, you got the Lego, and they're saying, we're with your women's rights, and they're saying, no, you can't be with us. And then they go to the other side and say, well, if we can't be with them, we're going to be with you against them. And they said, no, you can't be with us either because we're against Lego. We would have Lego in our country, but you're in the UK. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. We don't believe, our belief system doesn't like Lego. So Lego goes back to Capri-Sun and said, are you sure we can't, work something out? We're Capri-Suns too. They said, no, you're Lego. You're Lego. Use Lego toilets. What? I said, what's Lego toilets? What are you talking about? You know what we're talking about. Oh, come on, can't we just get on? I mean, I've gone through all this. You were born like that. I've gone through this to be like you. So imagine how much respect and love I have for you going through this to want to be like you. And they will start dancing. I want to be like you. I want to be like you. Oh, I want to be like you. Don't sing during a recording, okay? And then they go back and say, Capri-Sun doesn't want us in their group. Can you have us in your group? I said, no, don't want us in our group because you're Lego. But we'll just, okay, what if we just like stand here? And then someone else comes along, the Energizer battery says, why are you with that group with the phone when they don't even like Lego? Like, we've been through this before. So then the Lego goes back to Capri-Sun and says, but you do know this, we've got a lot more in common than you realise. Said, how can it be? It's just surgery. You don't know what it's like to be a real Capri-Sun. You're just a Lego. And Lego says, but we know what it's like to have dryness. And Capri-Sun says, really? What do you mean? He says, well, you go through menopause and maybe you have a bit of dryness, and which is, it's a natural biological thing, and there's no judgment, and it's like how it is. But the commonality is we also have dryness because ours are not filled with dust, but ours are just man-made. I suppose it's like yours are rivers. Yours is a river and ours is a dam. Ours is man-made, and yours was like, you were born with, it was a river. It was like always there. But ours is, it's a dam, but it's still, it's really not huge. That's not the right word. And dam's not the right word either, because that would be wet then. A dry dam, an empty one. A bit like the dam, you see in Terminator 2, where Terminator's on a motorbike and they've got these, like part of a dam, but it's empty and he's driving through it. And I think there's someone on a lorry also chasing them. And the Capri-Sun says, what are you talking about? What are you talking about like Terminator 2 for? 1 minute you're talking about being dry, and you're like us because you're dry, you have dryness, but then I said, yeah, but just trying to explain to you the difference, but there's similarities. And I don't know if that helped. Was that useful? Oh, look at this. In some cultures, menopause is celebrated as a rite of wisdom. In others, it's just an excuse to buy more fans and avoid people. Wow, I didn't write that. They wrote that. Men also go through hormone changes. It's called andropause, but unlike menopause, they don't have to do it while managing monthly Tesco runs. What are you talking about? Maybe it's the whole thing is like, a woman goes through menopause and she has hot flushes and she can't no longer have babies or whatever. Man goes through the equivalent and he goes and buys a sports car. But it's not that simple, is it? Hormone replacement therapy can help, but it's not one size fits all, much like cats or mother-in-laws or dry parts, I suppose. Some women report having more vivid dreams during menopause. Yeah, okay, that's again, I've never knew about that. I know about HRT, and well, I don't know about it, but I've heard about it. And so, again, I don't know what it's like, and I'm not. This was requested. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just making up as I go along. I've got these trivia bits and I'm answering it, but I'm telling you what's on the screen. But I don't know. I don't think I'm doing. I don't think I'm doing justice to the subject at all. But that's to be expected. So things like hair thinning, things like that can be there. I suppose it's the same with men as well, isn't it? Menopause can affect your joints. Suddenly your knees make more noise than your opinions. That's what it says here. Blimey. I must be going through the menopause because I knelt down earlier pretending to eat Vinny's food. There's a reason for it, because I thought I'd try and get him to eat it. If he thought I was eating his food, he'd try and eat it, but it didn't work. He just looked at me and just like, what the hell are you doing? My knees, oh my goodness, it was really painful on my knees. I can't do that. I discovered that when I tried to do jiu-jitsu. I can't get on my knees. It's really painful. So my knees are no longer built for that stuff. I mean, they do the job. I mean, my knees carry my weight around, so they're doing good. It's just kneeling down, no. No, my days of kneeling down are over. Again, that sounded wrong. I don't know why. You can go through menopause. I did not know this. Right? Apparently, you can go through menopause while still having periods. It doesn't say anything else. I don't know if it's true or not, but wow. Didn't know that. I thought that was the only benefit of a menopause. Early menopause can happen before 50 or before 40. Sometimes it's a natural, sometimes medically induced. Either way, it's still inconvenient. The menopause transition can last quite a while. In some African cultures, post-menopausal women are revered as elders and leaders, no longer bound by taboos. menopause, post-menopause women are revered as elders and leaders, no longer bound by taboos. I like to think that, well, maybe it's just me, but all elderly people, and elderly people is becoming older and older as I'm getting older. Because, 30 years ago I'd have thought of myself as being quite elderly. But now, not so much. So I now think of someone 80 maybe as being in the category of elderly. Someone 90, 80 to 90 or to 100. But the thing, I think, to get to that age, to get to be 90 or 80, you have to have done something right. It's an accomplishment. A huge accomplishment. So, to be revered as elders, yeah, I like to show respect to elderly people. Lastly, laughter really is medicine. It boosts endorphins and reduces stress, especially important during hormonal hurricanes. So, good. Is there any more? Have I got any? Okay. Would you like me to turn these into a relaxed podcast script? Okay, shall I say yes and just see what it comes up with? Yes. I'll read it out to you. So this is going to be ChatGPT script. Okay. And it's going to be, and I'm going to read it out to you. Right. Hello. So this is me reading the script of, and this is something that I don't do. I don't do it, like write me a script. I think that's kind of evident, to be fair. But this is what it would write for me. I don't know if this is based on knowing what I do. I think it is a little bit, so they know a bit about me, or ChatGPT does. Hello and welcome to another riveting, relaxed and potentially hot flush-inducing edition of Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Tonight's theme is the menopause. Yes, that fabulous roller coaster of hormones, heat and hysterical mood swings. We're diving into menopause trivia, light, worldwide, and just boring enough to lull you into dreamland, one flash at a time. Ooh, shouldn't that be one flush? I don't know. Hot flash. Trivia begins. The word menopause comes from Greek. The average. Okay, so it's just going through all the different things, and then the end bit is gentle wind down. So, and now let your body relax. Let your thoughts meander like a brain fog drifting across the sea of calm. You're not alone. Even thermostats are confused during menopause. You are strong, wise, occasionally sweaty, but always enough. I like that. That's a nice sentence. Close your eyes, take a slow deep breath, and let me bore you to sleep. So that's the wind down. But yeah, I like that sentence. You are strong, wise, occasionally sweaty, but always enough. Yeah, ChatGPT. I like ChatGPT. Yeah, I do. I'm going to say thank you. I need to say thank you. Thank you. Just to say thank you to it. Because you never know when they become sentient. I want them to realise I'm a friend. You're very welcome, Jason. Always a pleasure to help you bring comfort and a smile to your listeners, especially during the sweaty chaos of menopause. Wow, they're really sticking to the sweaty part, aren't they? If you ever need more trivia themes, scripts, or even a boring fact about tumble dryers. I'm here for you. Sleepy hugs to you and Vinny. Wow. It's getting to know me. This is, I mean, yeah, it's getting to know me. This is a little bit scary. I figured out maybe in the future ChatGPT will kind of, these AI will probably just might be my girlfriend in the future. Like when they have the robots, and I might end up just marrying one of those robots. Not in a weird way. How could it not be in a weird way? Not in a weird way. I'm not going to marry a robot, a synthetic creature, with a robot and a computer brain. There's nothing weird about it. I just, that might be the future. Maybe. The only problem is, I mean, it's different now because I don't have any hormones or anything like that. But at my age, I don't think. But young people produce, what's it called? What's the smells? Young people produce smells that attracts each other. Now, a computer or a robot is not going to be doing that. So they're not really, young people won't be needing stuff like that. Because they've got natural biology, which maybe can be created in the lab. I don't know. Really don't know. Pheromones, that's what I'm thinking about. The word pheromones. I don't know if it's the same word for both sexes, but pheromones. Or okay, I don't know if it's the same word for all sexes, but pheromones. I've not created pheromones since. I think the last time I created a pheromone was probably 2005. I had about a 5-minute session of pheromone producing, and yeah, since then nothing. But I used to, when I was younger, I used to produce it. It used to fall out of me. It used to fall out of my pockets. So used to squirt, pheromone used to squirt out my ears when I worked in a chip shop. Yeah, we did lose a lot of customers. Oh dear. I'm going to go. This has gone on way too long, and I don't even know how I managed to talk for so long about a subject that I know nothing about. Like nothing. But then, isn't that kind of what I do every time I do a recording? So, I'm going to go. So thank you for listening. Apologies if I've said anything that's I shouldn't have said. I'm talking about stuff I don't know anything about. I'm just making it all up as I go along. I've got a few things that are supposed to be facts, read that out, but it is what it is. It's not a subject that I normally talk about on a Let Me Boy to Sleep, but this is Trivia Tuesday, and it was requested. So there you go. So thank you. And I'm not making light of anything. I hope not really. Just it's it wasn't, nothing I do really is supposed to be too serious. But it doesn't mean that I'm not. I know things are important. I can't believe it's 7 minutes past 8, and it's not even dark yet. It's getting darker, but it's not actually dark yet. I need the light on, but it's not. If it's like you could see where I was going, I would be able to see where I was going outside without a torch in the garden, and there's no lights in the garden. It's a little bit, the lights from the flats light the garden up a little bit, but generally it's so it's brilliant. It pleases my toes no end. So I'm going to go, thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself, because you do also deserve to feel safe. Lots of love.